But I know you, and I just believe when you see the end of the debate, are you going to let that be the last word of presidential debates of this season, end of your career, or are you going to want one more?
So I'd rather debate. I'd rather have another one. The problem is we're so far down the line. And also, I had a 3-on-1 debate the last time. So I debated and I must say, CNN was very fair. And then at the other debate, and ABC was totally crooked.
So why not have another?
Because they agreed that they weren't going to do. No, but here's the thing. And I like debating. And I thought I did a great job. I thought that was one of my best debates. But it gets spun and spun. It's so crooked. I thought it was one of my best debates. And they said I'm the GOAT of debates. I think I've done really well in debates, okay? Rosie O'Donnell, ask her. Ask a lot of other people, too, that are lying in the dust. But what happened is ABC totally violated their agreement. And this guy, was debating me.
But why let that be the last word, then?
Because number one, we're winning. Number two, it's very late in the process. You know, the people are voting already. I would like to do another debate. I'd like to do more than one debate. The problem is it's late. They turned down the Fox debate. And don't forget, I had 2 debates. I had to beat Biden.
That one was early.
And then I had to beat her. And the one with her was very late, too. And then we had a fake news organization, terrible, ABC. The worst of all is ABC. I've always said it. That's why they wanted ABC, because they had to deal with ABC. But I said, I don't care if they do, because it doesn't matter. Hey, look, I took on 3 people, and a lot of people say, I think I won the debate.
And guys, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Let's get started. Kamala Harris is still asking for another debate as she trails Donald Trump in the polls. This is desperation 101, folks. They're fast running out of options as they try and do pretty much everything that they can to goad the former president. And here's one article that can be considered one of the top 10 articles for gaslighting. So according to Kamala Harris, Donald Trump has been avoiding the debate and tough interviews. Really? That's what it says. And that he would rather cocoon himself in safe spaces with conservative media. So Kamala Harris, the exact same person who said no to multiple debates with Donald Trump, is now saying that Donald Trump is the one who's avoiding her. Can you believe this, guys? Even though he initially scheduled 3 debates with Kamala Harris, she's now coming out saying this.
With all of that being said, I think it's very important to have debates. And we've agreed with Fox on a date of September 4th. We've agreed with NBC, fairly full agreement, subject to them, on September 10th. And we've agreed with ABC on September 25th. So we have those 3 dates, and those networks, they're very anxiously awaiting that date and those dates. So we have September 4th, September 10th, and September 25th. We have spoken to the heads of the network, and it's all been confirmed, other than some fairly minor details. Audience, some location, which city would we put it into, but all things that will be settled very easily, I think it'll be very easy. The other side has to agree to the terms. They may or may not agree. I don't know if they're going to agree. She hasn't done an interview. She can't do an interview. She's barely competent, and she can't do an interview. But I look forward to the debates because I think we have to set the record straight.
So the issue for her is that she would never in a million years go to Fox News for an interview. Why is that? The same way she turned down the initial offer from Donald Trump to have the first debate there. And yet Donald Trump has agreed to both CNN and ABC News, essentially going on Kamala Harris's turf. He destroyed Joe Biden in the CNN debate, and he had Kamala Harris reeling on ABC, even though 3 people were debating against him. It was the 3v1 situation. Y'all remember that debate, right? But now they're twisting the narrative again. They're calling out Donald Trump because he doesn't want to do another CNN debate. Now, if you ask me, it's a good call because CNN can't risk doing another debate where they call it right down the middle like they did with Joe Biden, because that would essentially end Kamala Harris's political career as well. They understand that they have to stack the odds against Trump, and Trump on his end is wisely picking his battles well. Now, what's funny is that CNN is now the former president should answer the call for another debate. Can't make this stuff up, guys. Check this out.
This just in, CNN has given the Trump and Harris campaigns a deadline to officially accept or reject an invitation to debate one another on CNN later this month. I want to get straight to CNN's Brian Stelter. Brian, what are we learning?
That's right. In practice, this is a deadline for Donald Trump because, as you'll recall, Dana, about 2 weeks ago, the Kamala Harris campaign immediately accepted CNN's offer for an October 23rd debate. Trump has been avoiding that offer. So now, in a new statement, CNN is saying to both campaigns that there's a deadline coming up this Thursday at noon. After all, in order to hold a presidential debate, you have to organize it for days and weeks ahead of time. So CNN is saying if the campaigns want this to happen, they have to give a formal response by this Thursday at noon Eastern time. The Harris campaign has been trying to goad Trump into agreeing. Trump has claimed it's too late to have another debate. But in fact, that October 23rd date is right in line for when past presidential debates have taken place in past cycles. So now there's a 48-hour clock. We will see if the Trump campaign agrees or not. It'll be a shame if there's no more debate between these two candidates, because I, for one, have a lot more questions, and I think a lot of viewers do as well.
I mean, we're so close to Election Day, guys. Now, if you still have questions that haven't been answered by a candidate, then that's on you. You have to do your research and actually listen to what these two are actually saying. Now, we could say that Kamala Harris really hasn't answered how she plans on enacting this opportunity economy that she talks so proudly about. We'll probably never get the details on that. But maybe that's what Stelter is referring to. So Donald Trump on his end has made it very clear. It's all come down to energy. Fox News, though, understands that having the two on their network, it would mean higher ratings. However, Donald Trump has already declined this offer as he believes that he won both debates against both Democratic nominees. And I want to just kind of read a few lines from Jen O'Malley Dillon here. That's the campaign chair for the Harris-Walz campaign, by the way. So according to her, Donald Trump's refusal to join the VP in another debate is a disservice to the American people. She added that Donald Trump may want to hide from the voters, but Vice President Kamala Harris welcomes the opportunity to share her vision for a new way forward for this country. Which now brings me to the response to this post. The top response said that maybe Kamala Harris shouldn't have declined 2 of the 3 debates that she was offered. Another one says that she won't do a debate outside of her safe space. One response said that it's Donald Trump who doesn't fear another debate. Another one asked why Kamala Harris wouldn't debate on Fox. And lastly, remember when Kamala Harris wasn't doing interviews or press conferences? It was because she was out talking to the people. Trump's doing that. Or was it a lie from Kamala Harris before? It's kind of hard to fool people when they're aware of what's happening on the ground. And the former president understands that a biased debate is the only thing that could save Kamala Harris's campaign. She's looking to land at least one more blow to Donald Trump before Election Day. Because why else would she be this persistent for another debate, right? I remember when I realized my income was stuck. No matter how hard I worked, I felt like I just kept hitting a ceiling. But then something clicked. It wasn't just about how much effort I was putting in. It was about the people that I surrounded myself with. And once I started connecting with more successful people, all of a sudden things started to change for me. So imagine being a part of a community where success is the standard, where everyone pushes each other to be better. That's exactly what the Life Pursuit Network offers. For less than $1 a day, you can surround yourself with people who will elevate your game. Don't let your current environment limit you. Hit the link in the description down below. Join us and start building your future with the right connections.
Election going on now. I hate to bring this up, but you support your union guy. Vice President Harris supports the strike, she said. She wanted to know how many folks support Vice President Harris. Any hands? No hands. Wow. Okay.
The topic of fracking is crucial for both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And while Donald Trump hasn't changed his mind regarding values, Kamala Harris has switched sides to try to pander to voters. In an interview that's probably being censored as we speak, Kamala Harris has been confronted about her stance on fracking. Check this out.
Well, Madam Vice President, I don't have to tell you how important natural gas is to this region. It's how we heat our homes and our factories in this region. It's very plentiful and cheaper than oil. And we extract natural gas through fracking. So I wanted to ask you, there's a political ad on TV from a 2019 Climate Hall town meeting that you had, in which you basically said, quote, "There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking," unquote. The ad claims that if you're elected president, you will ban fracking and you will cost Pennsylvania over 300,000 jobs. Have you changed your view on fracking? And if so, why?
So let me start by saying that ad, as you described it, is absolutely a mischaracterization that I think is intended to make people afraid of my presidency. Let me be absolutely clear, as I've been when I said it back in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I did not as vice president. In fact, I cast the tie-breaking vote to open up more fracking leases. And my perspective on this is grounded in a number of things, including that we don't have to ban fracking to do the work that we can do to also invest in a clean energy economy. So that's where I stand, period. As President of the United States, I will not ban fracking. I did not as Vice President of the United States. And frankly, I think some of those ads are misleading intentionally to suggest to folks that they should be afraid, because on the other side, what you've got in my opponent is somebody who could and has not really done much about lifting up the middle class.
All right, so here's the tricky part, guys. She keeps saying that she's not going to ban fracking, and yet she provides no explanation for her flip-flopping. I guess it would be detrimental for her campaign if she admitted, hey, I'm just saying this so that you guys will vote for me. I mean, that's the truth, right? But at this point, any explanation would be better than just staying quiet about it.
No, this is the Biden-Harris administration. Are you aware that this is the Biden-Harris administration? And she is indeed the vice president.
Not only does she inherit these numbers and contribute to them, she was the tie-breaking vote on $3 trillion of spending bills. So she is almost personally responsible for the massive inflation that you just showed on that chart.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
The criminal cartels are running the entry into America, and the numbers are at a 21-year high.
Challenges that we're seeing at our southwest border. No one knows this better than the vice president.
Kamala Harris, mostly silent after bragging about her role in helping shape Joe Biden's disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal.
Just made a really big decision. Afghanistan.
Yes.
Were you the last person in the room?
Yes.
And you feel comfortable?
I do.
The body of American Hersh Goldberg, Poland, and 5 others were, quote, brutally murdered.
These hostages were discovered in the tunnels under Rafah. That's where Joe Biden and Kamala Harris put pressure on Israel not to enter for a month.
And we're looking at about 1.5 million people in Rafah. I have studied the maps. There's nowhere for those folks to go.
That's the weakness that leads to the death of hostages.
Are you aware that this is the Biden-Harris administration? And she is indeed the vice president.
Everything that has happened to us within these last 4 years can be directly attributed to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And yet the officials continue to blame Donald Trump for most bad things. Even when Donald Trump is citing their own government for job numbers, he's still portrayed as a liar. And it went horrible for Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo. I'm not sure how she got this gig, but it's very clear she's not qualified for this position. Donald Trump took shots at the job numbers that the Biden-Harris administration has been touting for years. And reports show that many of these numbers were created out of thin air.
When you hear that, do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No, when I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is, though, from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar with that.
That's extraordinary. How could the Commerce Secretary not be aware of those numbers, Mr. Senator?
Because of extraordinary incompetence. You know, Stuart, I was hearing a week before those numbers were released that the downward revision be somewhere around 1 million. She's the secretary of the department that publishes the number. You know full well, on a network like yours, financially based, that people anticipate these reports. The fact that she didn't know anything about this report, about the downward revision, is literally just jaw-droppingly incompetent.
As embarrassing as that is, Raimondo, she isn't done. She's determined to make the economy look good by saying that Donald Trump will drive us into a recession, even though a majority of the country believes that the former president is good for our economy. A whopping 65% of voters feel right now that the country is heading in the wrong direction, with 50% saying that Donald Trump is the key to a better economy. Only 41% believe that Kamala Harris can do the same. Talking about numbers here, right? 59% of voters rated the economy as bad. And I want to show you the train wreck that Raimondo is, because she's still trying to say that Kamala Harris is better for our economy. This is despite the fact that our economy is in a sorry state at the time. Just listen to how she's fact-checked by CNBC on the air.
Look, we have had a soft landing, okay? Inflation, we haven't slayed it totally. It is on the way down. We just need stability, predictability. And what you will have in him is unpredictable, chaotic, based upon how he feels on a particular day. And I do worry that the tariffs, but last week he said a 200% tariff on John Deere. Where does that come from? That will only raise prices and put people out of work at John Deere.
Well,
so
we've had
we can't afford
surrogates on,
it is way too risky.
When we've had surrogates on for the Trump campaign, they have said that he doesn't really mean any of these things. They would just be tools for negotiation.
Then why does he say them? Why would I believe that? He says it. He's doubled down on it. He repeats it. By the way, he was president. We know what that resulted in.
Now, this brings me to talk about a previous video I did where Fox News exposed how the Biden-Harris administration has used FEMA funds. Sadly, they've spent around $1 billion of these funds on illegal immigrants. Make sure you guys watch that video after this one. You're not going to believe how they're trying to spin this story now. As always, appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for keeping yourselves informed. Thank you for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you guys next time.